So before I start this video, I just want to quickly say that the gameplay I'm showing in the background comes from my boy Maximilian Dude. I suggest all of you subscribe. The video and his channel links will be in the description, and I will have spurred intermittently throughout the video my own gameplay of Guilty Gear Xrd Sign, just so I can sort of compare and contrast, so you can sort of see where some of my opinions are coming from. So after coming home from school today, I sat down, I turned on my computer, I went straight to my boy Max's channel. I looked at he uploaded 4K gameplay of Guilty Gear Strive. I had to watch it. I put the 4K feature on and I let it rip. And I gotta say, oh my god, this game is so fluid. It's so fantastic. The design departments of this game are brilliant. And I didn't think you could get better than Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think that's probably the best looking game made ever. But oh my god, they've even surpassed FighterZ. I can't comprehend it. Like, it's out of comprehension, the actual graphical fidelity of this game. So the first thing I want to mention about Guilty Gear Strive is definitely the music. We already know the music's good. I think in this gameplay there's one extra track which we haven't seen in the trailers before, and it is fantastic. The music as a whole is always great in Guilty Gear. It has a brilliant soundtrack. I think, what's his name? Daisuke Ishikawa, whatever he's called. Daisuke, right? My boy Daisuke just knows how to write music, and he always gives this sort of rock and roll feeling. You know, this whole rock, ooh, you know, sound to his music. The sound design too, it's very crisp, it's very clear. All the sound effects, all the characters shouting, the ambience and all that, it's very like clear, and it's very like, it mixes well with the music and the overall aesthetic of the game. It does, you can hear everything, and it's, I don't want to explain it, but when you hear a character attack, you not only feel it, but you feel like you are the one getting attacked, and it's fantastic. But I do have my own little personal grievances with the overall sound design. And it's not the sound design's bad, and it's not that Daisuke Ishiwatari, that's his name, and his team, and the whole sound team of Arc Systems have done something wrong. It's just that for me personally, it's like, so the game shows this sort of like rock aesthetic overall for the music and this hard rock, you know, and all that. Whereas I prefer is overall heavy metal, death metal style of sound design. So, although this game's not going to be the best sound design for me personally, like World at War and Killer Instinct are way better in my opinion. But in terms of actual quality, I don't think it can be matched by pretty much almost any game out there other than like a Battlefield, right? I think the actual quality is fantastic. It's just the style. It's not, you know, my personal taste. I like heavy metal, death metal in my fighting games. They've gone for rock. I'm fine with it. It sounds good. It matches with the gameplay and the actual overall aesthetics of the game. And I think it's perfectly fine with what they've done. It's just, it's not for me. Okay, so now my first issue with this game, and it's an issue I have with pretty much every fighting game ever, is the HUD. I don't think the HUD's that interesting. There's not really many games I can think of off the top of my head that have good HUD, but I guess FighterZ would be the first one in my head that I can think of. The HUD's, I want to say, it's boring. It looks really clean and contemporary, but it's quite boring. With all the cool effects going on the screen, I feel like this should have gone for like a bit more cooler HUD, like lightning on it or lasers and stuff, you know, fire effects on the HUD. Just something like dynamic to match with the gameplay. Like if you look at Guilty Gear Xrd Sign, which should have gameplay on the screen right now, I think that has much better HUD than this new game. The new game hasn't done anything wrong. Again, it's just, it's not for me. And this is going to be a trend throughout this video that you will notice that most of the issues I have are just stuff that are not for me. Now, there are stage transitions in this game, and I personally am a huge fan, a huge, you know, supporter of stage transitions in fire games. I like them in Tekken, I like them in Injustice, and I really like them here. I think, you know, to expand your combo through a stage transition, I think it's a brilliant idea that every fighting game should have. I don't think it should just be the few. I think it should be the many that experiment with stage transitions. The actual transitions looks fantastic. The animations around them, the camera work, the sound design is perfect. I don't think they can really do anything to improve it. So that's just brilliant to see and hear. There's something I also really like that I don't really see anyone talk about in fight games in general, but it's the actual size of the characters on the actual screen. Both of them, you know, they'll be fine each other. They'll take up at least around just about half of the screen, and you're really close to them, right? You're not too close that you feel like you're right up in their face, but you're not far away that you feel like you're watching them fight. I think the camera position is pretty much perfect. I don't think for Guilty Gear, right, I think it's perfect. It's not my favorite camera position possible for a fighting game. I prefer Killer Instincts, but overall with the camera and all, in fact, all the camera work they do, like when you get slash counters and all that, the camera moves around, It's brilliant. I really like this over-the-top camera. It's great in Fantasy, and it looks great in this game. I hope going forward they do even more crazy stuff with this camera work, and I can't wait to see what else they have in store with other characters and how their attacks affect the camera. Then finally, I want to quickly mention. Finally, I want to quickly mention the stages. The stages I've seen in the gameplay all look fine. None of them look exceptional, except bar 1, which I think looks brilliant and is one of the best looking stages in the fighting game. But overall, the stages look fine and passable. This seems to be a trend with most fighting games nowadays, except for Fantasy. That game has fantastic stages because they're all from this show and they're all like, you know, references that all the fans can get behind. They all look fantastic. But as a whole, most fighting games like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and all that, you know, Justice 2 and all that their stages aren't really the best, and it's a bit sad to see this, but it's not necessarily like their problem. I think it's mainly because now we've moved out of the sprite-based stages, sprite-based art style, 2D, and gone into using 3D assets in fighting games. It's harder to actually create interesting looking stages without being distracting, and you know, Street Fighter's done it quite well. Street Fighter 5 has some really good stages. But the whole stages are like, they're passable. They're really interesting. I like the little movements in the background. One of them's like snowing, you have snow flying, you can see some trees moving, there's machines in the background. It's doing everything a stage should do. It's just not really pushing the boundaries of what a stage is, other than the fact that they are stage transitions. So that's my overall thoughts on the new Guilty Gears gameplay. I'm going to try my best to make sure that the gameplay you see is the best possible quality I'm able to render. And I hope you've enjoyed this video and what I've talked about, what I've said, my opinions. I want to hear other people's opinions. I want to hear the opinions of people who aren't fighting game fans, who don't know what Guilty Gears, who aren't really into this, who aren't into fighting games, but aren't into this style of fighting games. Maybe they're into Soul Calibur, maybe they're into Tekken. I just want to hear what people have to say about this game. I'm really interested in that, and I much really like to hear more specifically on like what you think about the gameplay, the graphics, music, the actual stage designs, the HUD and all that. I just want to hear other people's opinions on the stuff I mentioned. So that's all I got to say about Guilty Gear. If you've been watching, thanks for watching. It's been your boy Heftimus, Arnelius, Cornelius, Wilbur, Totem, and thanks for watching.